Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about food labels because they can be tricky. I'll just leave it at that. Let's dive in. Okay, so when you're looking at a food label, we'd want to look at the serving size and we want to look at the calories per the serving size. Serving size will really trick some people. There's all these sugar-free and um, spices and things that will say, oh, 0 calories or, 5 calories or something for the serving size. Then you look at the serving size, especially for like spices and things, and the serving size will be like a quarter of a teaspoon. And that is absolutely ridiculous. That is the tiniest thing. Nobody is only seasoning with a quarter of a teaspoon. So technically, they can label it with that low calorie, but once it's more than that serving size, then calories start to get added in there. It can get really tricky. The oil sprays, like Pam sprays and things like that, when you spray uh, enough of that out into the pan, it is not 0 calories, guys. It's fats. And fats have 9 grams or 9 calories per gram of fat. So once you have sprayed out 1 gram of fat, you got 9 calories right there. It's not 0 calories. You can't coat your pan and have like a bunch of the oil starting to go and be like lying to yourself and saying it's 0 calories. So we want to pay attention to serving sizes and the calories for the serving size. This example right here is just a tuna packet that I had. So the pouch itself is going to be 70 calories. This is where things can get a little bit tricky. To be most accurate, you want to look at the grams. Using a food scale is the most precise way of being able to measure out what you're having. If you dump your packet out onto the food scale, it may or may not end up at 71 grams, which is the serving size. It could be a little bit lower. It could be a little bit more. It's not always going to be that. So it's not always perfectly accurate to assume that the whole pouch of something is going to be this calorie amount. There's bars out there, you put them on the scale and it's like, 40, 50 more calories than what it is supposed to be for the serving size, for the bar itself. That grams under the serving size, that is going to be the most exact. So if you are struggling and not seeing weight loss and we're having you be very precise with everything you're measuring out, that's what you want to look at so that you know how many calories you're actually getting. It's 70 calories for that 71 grams weighed out on a food scale. So that's the first thing you want to look at. Then you can start to delve into more of the information on the label. There's certain nutrients that you kind of want to avoid. A lot of these are pretty well known, but saturated fats, we don't want to have too much of these types of fats. They're not good for you. They lead to higher risk of heart disease. Trans fats, a lot of the foods don't even have trans fats anymore, but we definitely want to avoid those. They are definitely not healthy for you. And added sugars, we just don't want excessive added sugars. It's okay to have a little bit. The problem is when it's like multiple things that you're having throughout the day that are high sugar, you start to get into trouble. But I mean, this has 1 gram of added sugar because it's a flavored tuna packet. So they just wanted to add a tiny bit in there so it tastes, good. Sugar helps. Sugar and salt help for seasoning things. Let's move on a little bit more. Oops, that's not supposed to be there. Anyways, so then we want to look at the nutrients that you want to care a lot about besides the calories. Calories are important for weight loss, so we definitely are paying attention to that. But then we want to look at your protein. You're getting 14 grams of protein for this 71 gram packet. That's pretty good. A lot of times I'll have 2 pouches of tuna, and that will be a pretty decent amount of protein for one serving. I pair it with some I do like some chips or crackers or something with it. And it helps you balance it out a little bit. But you want to focus on getting more protein into your diet because a lot of times we're lacking protein. And when you're in weight loss, you want to keep your protein. We'll talk about macros in another video, but you want to keep your protein up because we want to protect the muscle that you have, the lean mass that you have. And we want to try to just lose fat weight, not any weight. We want to be losing fat weight. I know people love these high numbers on the scale, but if you're not losing the right kind of weight, you're doing your body some harm. We want to focus on getting that protein up so we can help keep your muscle mass while you're on your weight loss journey. So protein is crucial. I like to look for things that have protein at least in the double digits. So that's typically what I'll look for, double digits for protein. Then another key nutrient that you want to look for is fiber. Tuna is not going to have really fiber added to it, but fiber is going to help you stay full. It's going to help buffer your blood sugar levels so they don't spike as much. It's a key thing that you want to be looking for on a label. Obviously, tuna is not going to have fiber in there. But to pair fiber with this meal, add in some veggies. There you go. Then you're going to get a little bit more balance there. All right. Okay. This is a little more details for you. So on the label, next to the different categories, like you have the fat, the cholesterol, sodium, carbs, all that kind of stuff, it's going to give you a daily value percentage based on like a 2,000 calorie diet. This is something that I never paid that much attention to because I know from the grams in my mind what's good, but you can see the different percentages so you can kind of get a good idea of if this is a good source of this nutrient. So if you look, 25% for the protein, that's pretty substantial for daily value. So you can see that this is a pretty good source of protein. And you can look and see things that are pretty low, like there's not much fat to this. So it's only like 1%. There's not much. So you know that this is not a good source of healthy fats or fats in general. It's got just a low amount. So that little daily value percentage is pretty helpful for just, determining if it's a good source of that specific category. Then you also have like a section that talks about the different vitamins and minerals that can be present in your foods. We won't go into much detail right there, but if you're looking for certain things, like a lot of people are looking for vitamin D, calcium, iron, they're looking for these kind of nutrients to be in their foods because they're lacking those. You can see that in this section. Then you have the ingredients list. So my favorite things to pay attention to on a food label is obviously you want to look at the calories. If you're in weight loss, they matter a lot. Calories matter a lot in maintenance as well. If you get to a lucky time when you're bulking, calories don't matter as much because you're really pushing yourself to build muscle at that time. But I digress. I pay most attention to the calories, obviously what the serving actually is, how much protein it has, does it have some fiber, are the carbs not super high unless I want the carbs, and then what is actually in here. So this ingredients list will give you a breakdown of what the product has in it. So it's got tuna, and you can see all the different other ingredients in there. It is in order of what it has the most of to what it has the least of. So a lot of times when you're looking at labels, sugar will show up as like the second or third ingredient, and you'll know this product probably has a lot of sugar added to it. This is where you can also read if it has, food ingredients that you understand. And if you don't quite understand, maybe you might not want to be eating that. I will typically look for labels that have less ingredients and more of the actual whole foods in there. Like turkey burgers that I get, it's literally the ingredients are turkey, salt, and rosemary. I'm looking for foods that are like food. There is room. I eat Doritos. There's room for those other kind of foods in there, but you can see from this ingredients section what it has the most of. And as you go down the line, there's still some other things, but you can see like there's a little less and less as you get lower in the ingredients list. But like I said, I look for labels that have less ingredients. I don't want these super long ingredients lists. And then it will show you the allergy information at the bottom. So you can always quickly check at the bottom. Does it have nuts? Does it have whatever? That will show up at the bottom of the label. So that's just a little breakdown of a food label. So you can kind of get a good idea. When it comes to labeling, marketing is a little bit tricky. They may market something as high protein, and then you look at the label and it's like only 6 grams. You're like, well, that's not actually high protein. Or higher protein is another trick one, where it's just like, oh, they just added 1 extra gram protein. Marketing will get you, and they'll market things keto. It'll be that you think that you're like trying to cut carbs, but then there's a ton of fat in there and the calories are super high. And you're like, wait, I thought this was keto. But yes, technically it's keto, but you have to try not to fall for the marketing words on the front of the boxes. I need to see if I have something in my pantry that has an example. Let me check real quick. Okay, so I didn't really have any foods that are tricky in my pantry, but I did pull out this cereal, and this gluten-free thing, that will get people too. Yeah, of course, rice, it's going to be gluten-free. But a lot of times people will just read gluten-free and automatically think it's healthier. You got to look out for the marketing terms. The label is going to give you the information that you really need to know. What's actually in it? The calories good for your goals? Does it have a good amount of protein? How does the fiber look? Does it have like low to little saturated fats? These are the things we're looking for. If you need carbohydrates, does it have good a source of carbs, but also a balance of fiber? That's great. Is it providing you some extra vitamins and minerals? Awesome. This is just a small breakdown of a label to kind of help you understand it a little bit better. Hopefully this is helpful. I will see you in the next video.